This is episode number 262 of the InnerFight podcast. Thanks a lot to our show sponsors, Smith Street Paleo. Remember, if you review and rate the podcast over in iTunes, Smith Street Paleo will give you a Smith Street goodie bag. Well worth hopping over there and getting that done. Our guest today is an old friend of mine by the name of Tom Ellis, who recently gave away one of his kidneys to his fiancée, an incredible selfless act, and I'm super excited to have Tom on the show to discuss the pre, during and post effects, both physically and mentally, of donating a kidney. Let's jump right into today's show. Tom Ellis, welcome to the show. Mate, thanks for taking the time out to come and chat to us.
Thank you, Marcus.
Mate, we go back quite a long time. I think we first, probably met at school about 20 years ago or something like that.
Early 90s, maybe?
Early 90s, something like that. And then, mate, we had obviously a lot more contact when you were dominating the world wakeboarding scene. Just tell us a little bit about that, mate, because I think that gives this story quite a bit of context sort of about your background and what you used to do.
You sponsored me with Oakley, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, correct, yeah.
I was competing at the highest level around the world, predominantly Middle East and Asia,
right.
But on a world stage as well. Was ranked 15th in the world at one point.
How does the wakeboarding world work then for you to be sort of up there with the best? Is it, what is it ranked on, and how did all that work? Because I mean, this was really your life, right?
Yeah, it's all I did. There's world championships, there's tours, just like most sports, extreme sports.
Yeah.
It was very, very small in the region, and I was spotted by a brand called Hyperlight, which was associated with Oakley at the time.
Yeah.
And they paid for me to do a bit of travelling.
Right.
As well as my mum and dad. And that gave me the opportunity to go to the Worlds, which was in America.
Right.
And it was progressed from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a world competition, so anyone can go.
Right.
You don't have to qualify.
Right. But you're obviously up there with the best in the world, and wakeboarding. I remember when I met you, wakeboarding was all you wanted to do. It was
That's
life.
all I did, yeah.
It was all you pretty much did.
For 10 years of my life.
Really?
Yeah.
So when did you sort of stop the wakeboarding, mate? I mean, because I think this is going to give some interesting context to what we're going to speak about later on. When did that sort of come to an end, and when did you move into sort of a real, should we call it a real job? I don't know.
A real job. Yeah, maybe it's not really a real job.
Yeah.
I got old, man. I'll be honest. I got old, and everyone just got so much better.
Right.
It was, I should have probably retired a lot sooner than I did.
Yeah.
But saying that, seeing all these kids come up and dominate, one of my last competitions was probably my best.
Right.
And I was ranked 6th.
Wow.
In Asia and Australasia.
Wow.
In the Asian Championships, and then I did some demos after that, and then I hurt my back really badly.
Right.
And then we called it a day.
That was enough.
Yeah.
So after you hurt your back, mate, what was your sort of passion for sport and like outside of wakeboarding? When you, as you said, you made wakeboarding sort of your life for 10 years, and then you've hurt your back, you've given it up. Where was your head at, and where were you going in with regards to sport at that stage?
I was going nowhere. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I was teaching wakeboarding.
Right.
But it becoming more of a job. It was a bit harder. Financially, it pretty much sucked.
Yeah. Right.
And sporting wise, not much at all.
Right.
Until a friend of mine who Ed Nicholas, sort of shook me and said, "You're a fat mess," kind of thing.
Had you put on weight?
No, just
sloppy.
looked like a retard. Yeah, no offense.
Yeah.
And he got me back into shape.
Yeah.
With circuit style training, because he's obviously a rugby player.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it evolved into a bit of CrossFit.
Yeah. And I mean, it was. I want to fast forward quite quick on that, because it was almost on the back of that, and a few years later that sort of we caught up again, and you said, "Oh, can you help me with a couple of things?" And we started doing a little bit of training together. I mean, you'd really by then become, I guess in a positive way, obsessed with working out, with fitness, and with your body feeling and looking really good, right?
Yeah, it was a snowball effect. For me to get back into shape, it was pretty quick.
Yeah.
Because I was at an elite level in an extreme sport, you had to be pretty fit.
Yeah.
And it came back quickly, and it was just so fun.
Yeah.
And so and it ended up training twice a day, 5-6 days a week.
Yeah.
And just getting really into it.
Just getting super into it. And that's where I want to pick this up, mate, the topic, really what we're going to speak about today. I remember it so distinctly when I think it was about the third or fourth time you came into the gym, and we were just working out at that stage just with an empty barbell, and you turned around and said to me, "My girlfriend needs a kidney."
Correct.
And you sort of started telling me the story, and to be honest, mate, I actually didn't know what to say. I was a bit like, "Oh yeah." And then as the session went on, and think about it, and then I think a few weeks later, you're like, "There's a chance that I might be the match."
Correct,
mate.
Yeah.
Like, I think at the time when we were talking about it, it was almost like, I would say almost a fantasy. It was almost like it wasn't real. Talk us through how that started, and how suddenly one day over an empty barbell that came out, because I think that's really the start of this story.
My girlfriend Jeannie, she'd been diabetic since she was born, pretty much 18 months old.
Right.
And over time, it affected her kidneys. So she was in hospital a few times.
Yeah.
With the kidneys here, and I'd always said, "Hey, if you need one of mine, you can have it."
Really?
And it wasn't a joke, but it was something that we'd never thought would transpire.
Yeah.
And she went back to, it was May 3rd actually,
right,
when she went back to England, 2015, and the day before I was in here training, I got the call to say she wasn't coming home.
Right.
She was in England for a week.
Yeah.
Just doing some checkups. She called me. Yeah, I ain't coming home.
Wow.
My kidneys have failed.
Wow. And you guys have been together for how long, mate?
At this point, we'd been together over 3.5 years.
Right. Wow.
So I immediately said, "Well, how do we fix this?"
Right.
What do we do? She goes,
Right.
I need a new kidney. I said, okay. So the whole family put the names forward.
Yeah.
Obviously, I did.
Yeah.
And that's when I brought it up with you in the gym that morning.
Yeah. When you sort of get a call like that, mate, and she's obviously quite young. We're all relatively young in this, and it's like, I'm not going to be able to come home. You've been together for a few years. I'm not going to be able to come home because I don't have any kidneys anymore. What, aside from your sort of complete level-headedness of no worries, you can have one of mine, what's start to go through your mind? Maybe not initially, but definitely in the aftermath of that phone call.
Well, your whole life, really, as you know it, just kind of shatters around you.
Yeah.
Because you live for that person.
Yeah.
And it was pretty numbing as well.
Yeah.
But you don't know what to think.
Right.
And it was very surreal.
Yeah.
And you just have to be level-headed.
Right.
And step back, stand out of the situation, and think how she needs to be told what we're going to do.
Right. Right.
Just to support her, and this ain't a big deal. We're just going to fix it.
Right. So it's not the immediate reaction is to give life. Like, you weren't even thinking at that point what'll happen to my body, what'll happen to the quality of your life, which we'll go on to speak about later, like if you were to give this kidney away?
No, there was, yeah,
amazing.
Nothing in my head came up with what I'm going to sacrifice.
Yeah.
The main thing is what I can give.
Right.
Sacrifice never came into my mind.
Incredible. So talk us through a little bit of the process, mate. It's all very good saying like you did early on, if you need a kidney, you can have one of mine, but it wasn't quite as easy as that. And we've kept in contact through this, and I would hazard a guess that you've flown about 25 to 30 times to the UK in the last 2 years. So just talk us through a little bit of the pre-op procedures and what you actually went through there.
Well, the first thing is what blood group are you?
Right.
Are you compatible?
Yeah.
She is, say, lucky enough, but she's AB.
Right.
Now, AB is special because they can receive blood from pretty much...
Just checking what I am. I'm AB positive. Can I...
Yeah.
Okay?
You're good.
Okay,
you can receive blood from anyone.
Right, okay.
But you can't give to anyone. Only that
Only
type.
to AB positive, right. Yeah.
So she can receive from pretty much everyone. So I didn't even know what blood group I was.
Right. And this is basically May 2015.
Yeah. So the first thing I did, I called my twin sister.
Right.
Because I was thinking we're the same blood group, obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
Anyway, so I went back, immediately got on a plane. That's what I did.
Right.
Got on a plane, went back, went straight to the hospital, and we tested what blood group I was.
Yeah.
A-, yeah, good to go.
Right.
As did her brother, her sister, her father, her brother-in-law.
Right.
Aunties, uncles.
Right. And so out of everyone, you were the only one that could work, or were there others?
It was kind of whittled down.
Right.
And we kind of made a competition out of it to see who was going to actually do it.
Really?
Wow. And it came down to 3 of us.
Right.
Myself, her brother, who's only 18 months younger than her.
Right.
Who was the kind of the front runner, as you were.
Yeah.
And her brother-in-law.
Right.
And then, after testing, tissue typing, they test your antigens. That they have to mix our blood with hers to see if it rejects.
Wow.
And of everyone.
And this takes time, though, mate, as well, right? She's in the UK. You're here holding down a job, sort of, supporting you both, and two different countries. What was that like? The process of it, because it's not. You've made it sound very easy. Oh, some blood, and we made a family thing out of it. But it actually took a lot of time, and with time, I guess, comes a lot of stress and uncertainty.
I'd say that the initial testing process to find out
Yeah.
who the donor was going to be took about 6 months.
Right. Wow. Of not knowing, really.
Of not knowing at all, and to be honest with you, thinking it would be Nushi, her younger brother.
Right.
And I was just going along with it.
Right.
In support of everyone.
Yeah.
Because I mean, no one thought it was going to be not him.
Right.
6 months traveling back and forward, doing all the tests, and not just doing the tests, but going to be with her and supporting her, because she, looking at me aside, she's got kidneys that don't work.
I was going to say, was she deteriorating?
She had to be on dialysis.
Right.
And it was peritoneal dialysis, so it's not like the hemo where you go in 3 times a week and they kind of flush your blood out.
Yeah.
It's peritoneal, so you have to do it every day.
Wow.
Every day, 8 hours a day.
Wow.
So they insert some tubes and everything inside, and you plug yourself in every night.
Wow.
So she was going through that, which is mental.
Really, yeah.
I mean,
how was she dealing with it, mate? I mean, I'm sure that having you guys running around and doing it is, but she still has to do this 8 hours a day of dialysis.
Yeah, I mean, her father was so supportive. He moved back to England with her.
Wow.
And she's got family obviously there.
Yeah.
and it was her dad mainly, I think, that was like the rock for her,
right?
Because he was there all the time,
right?
And we travelled back and we supported. But she's the strongest person I've ever met, and looking at what she had to go through, it was we're in awe of how she actually handled it.
Did you see that in her personality before, or did it sort of develop in this tough time?
Yeah, I mean, she's always been tough. Like, she's diabetic, so, testing your blood sugars every day and injecting yourself with insulin, 4 or 5 times a day, and not really, like, whatever. Like, it's just
got on
part
with
of life.
Yeah.
And then, having a few kidney issues, being in hospital before then, and getting on with life, and you'd never know. Like, if anyone met her on the street, you'd never know she had anything wrong with her.
So she'd just go about life normal and not just standard sort of no qualms. You'd never know.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So they found out there's you and her brother, who's basically you're the front runners. What's happened next?
We got asked to check our emails because there was some news.
Oh, God.
And I was at work at the time and opened the email and was just thinking I was reading a letter to say thanks for everything, but we don't need you as a donor. And I read it as you have been selected as the primary donor.
From who does this email come?
From the NHS.
From the NHS in the UK, you get an email saying you have been selected as a primary donor.
Yeah.
Where were you when you read it? I
was in my office having lunch.
Right. How did the lunch taste after that?
I didn't taste it after that. It was it was complete shock.
Really?
I had to sit down for a little bit.
Yeah, right.
And it was initial shock, but it was mixed emotions because it was like I'm gonna save her life. Like
right.
I mean that's amazing.
Yeah.
Forget the shock. It's gonna be me that is gonna.
You're gonna keep someone alive.
Save my girlfriend's life.
Yeah. And when did you speak? Like, did you call her straight away? Did she know? Did she get an email at the same time? How does that?
No, we all had to. I mean, we had a WhatsApp group, all of us, and everyone was crying. It's not me. It's not me. It's not me.
Oh my God!
But her brother was. We couldn't get hold of him, and then I read it and I just said,
"It's me.
It's me."
Wow!
And it was just wow. I mean, no one expected it.
What was the conversation? You obviously spoke to her quite soon after that on the phone. How did that conversation go the next time you chatted?
She was full of guilt.
Really?
Yeah. In tears.
Just upset that it...
Just did not want it to be me.
Really?
She didn't want it to be anyone.
Yeah, right.
Because it's not a normal thing to do.
No. So she just felt...
Just guilt.
Really?
Just guilty. Yeah.
Mate, that must have been like one of the most crazy situations for both of you, in that you've gone through all the tests, you finally found out, we finally got a solution to almost end her suffering. I know there's different parts to it that we'll talk about, but it comes around and that's the reaction, which is so normal for someone, right? So how did you work through that bit? Because like that's almost the start of the next step of the journey, isn't it?
Just assured her that this is 100% what I want to do,
right.
and I'm actually really happy that I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And that I mean just continually telling her that it's okay. Like,
how long did it take to sink in for both of you that it was you and this was going to be real? Or hasn't it yet?
Until probably on the when I was being wheeled into the operating theatre.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
It was like watching a documentary on the Discovery Channel.
So let's fast forward a little bit, mate. Just give us a quick run through, because it wasn't quick. There was still from that point there was still a lot of stuff until the day that you got wheeled into the operating theatre.
She was on the donor list because she needs a double transplant.
Right.
Not just the kidneys, but a pancreas.
Right, okay.
So she was on the list.
Right.
Which means 24 hours a day, if your phone rings and it's hospital, you get there because someone unfortunately has passed away.
Right.
And they're an organ donor, and they're a match for you.
Right.
So there was a time when she got a phone call. Oh. I was the donor, but she got a phone call on the 9th of February 2016 to say, we have organs for you, both a kidney and a pancreas.
Wow.
I was in Dubai at the time. I got on the first plane that I could. But subsequently, the organs didn't. They were a match, but they weren't as good as mine.
Lucky you.
And then that's when they said, right, this is it, Tom. You know, you're going to be giving your kidney to your girlfriend on the 31st of March.
Bang.
That's it, done.
That's it. So 9th of February, doesn't work out. Tom, 31st of March, we need you here.
You're in. Yeah.
How do you prepare for that, mate? Physically and mentally?
You carry on as normal.
Right.
You train. I mean, I was training with you, and I was trying to get better at life and fitness, and because it to me it was just continuing as normal and getting on with the day job, but it was almost like, you know, this is your last 40 odd days, with two kidneys, because you don't know how it's going to affect you later on in life.
Was that? How do you deal with that, mate? Because obviously you've researched into how it affects you. You've sort of, you've probably read around the subject a lot. But at the end of the day, 31st of March, life was going to be different.
Yeah. I didn't want to look too much into it.
Right.
Because, there's all sorts of stats and stuff like that you don't really want to read.
Right.
I read lots of case studies.
Yep.
On people. And people were living normal lives.
Right.
Just trying to prepare, just trying to give her the healthiest kidney that I could.
Yeah.
Okay, it was selected because it was the strongest and healthiest kidney, but I thought I could make it better.
So you were trying to get fitter, you were trying to get cleaner in a way, so eating just really good, training as much as possible, just to make sure that when they take one of your kidneys out, it's just in the best condition ever.
Yeah, it's a badass kidney that's going to treat her good for 18, 20 years.
Did you think about it all the time in those sort of 6 weeks leading up to it?
I tell you that since she told me that she needed a kidney, there's not a day or minute that I did not think about it.
Oh, wow.
Until March 31st. But obviously when you're told you're the donor, there isn't I don't think there's a minute that didn't go by that it wasn't on my mind. Ever.
You left Dubai in anticipation of the 31st of March. You'd flown back and forward a lot of times before. Yeah. Was that flight and that sort of journey back different?
It was. I think only because I made it a little bit different.
Did you?
Like this is, like say the last what I did was named, two kidney and
right,
and kind of made a thing of it just to make light of it.
Yeah.
But then I remember sitting on the tarmac in Dubai and taking off, thinking, this is it.
This is really it.
We are going to go and do this.
How did you feel about it?
I felt so good. It was like
really?
It was like you see those ambulances and they have like the cool boxes with organs in for donation, and I was like, that's what I am.
Wow.
I'm going to deliver this kidney to Jeannie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Mate, the day of the surgery, let's get to it, and then we'll go into the aftermath and where we are today.
Yeah.
You wake up, start the story for us.
Wake up in a hospital bed. Obviously, you've got to go in the day before.
Right.
You can't eat anything. They put you on a drip.
Yeah.
You get woken up pretty early. I mean, I didn't really sleep, to be honest.
Yeah.
Wake up.
Can't imagine.
They put some robes on the end of the bed. Take a shower.
Yeah.
Then they let my family come in.
Yeah.
So they all travelled over, obviously.
Wow.
And then Jeannie came up to see me.
Yeah.
Obviously, she was going through even more than I was.
So you sort of check into this hospital together. You go to your room. She goes to her room.
Yeah.
Wow.
And yeah, we hang out for 20 minutes.
What do you talk about in that situation, mate? The
Mm.
weather?
Well, I'll tell you what happened. The day before we went in, unfortunately, her mum passed away just before I met her.
Right.
And we went to see her mum before we went to the hospital.
Right.
And I got down on one knee and I asked her to marry me.
Wow.
To because I wanted to marry, obviously, but
course,
and I timed it so no one would think about what we were about to do, but more about what we had just done.
Right.
So the morning of the operation, it was happiness.
Wow.
And we were talking about that, and then we said goodbye to each other. And
did you think? Sorry, mate. On that, did you do that? I know you did it on purpose, asking her to marry at that time, but you just said something really powerful there, in that people would be thinking about the happiness side that you're going to be together, rather than focusing on this little thing you had to get to. Was that completely premeditated?
Yeah.
Like for weeks, months before?
I'd say, it probably. When I found out it was going to be me, I mean, I always wanted to marry her.
Right.
But when I found out, when I got that letter, when I had time to think, I thought we're going to get married.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, she's taking my kidney, so she might as well take my whole life.
Take my heart as well.
Yeah.
One of them absolutely physically, the other. But, I mean, that must have been... How did that add to... I'm just trying to figure it out from an emotional side, because the whole thing is quite turbulent, like we heard before, that she felt guilty when it was you. And so how did it balance? Did it balance things emotionally, or did it fuel? Like, how does that work?
I don't know. It just made it. It just made us forget about it in a way.
Right.
Yeah.
So it kind of pulled it off.
It's just like something that was like in the way of what we wanted to do and get married.
So you just have a chat. You've just got engaged. You have a chat, 20 minutes, and then it's like,
and then
see you on the other side.
And then she has to go down. Obviously, I get taken in before because
they need it.
Yeah. So I go and hang with my mum and dad, and then I'm in my bed, and then the surgeon, well, not the surgeon, the porter comes.
Yeah.
Get on this bed. I say, can I walk? And he says, no way.
Really?
So they wheel you to the. They wheel you to the operating theatre, and you say bye to your family, because there is a risk.
Yeah.
There is a risk involved. There's a risk that you don't make it.
Percentage-wise?
1 in 30,000.
Right.
So it's a very small risk.
Yeah, but still.
But I was looking at 1 in 3,000.
1 in
3,000.
Right.
Which is very small.
Yeah.
But if you think about how many people you can fit into a football stadium, and then you think, okay, you're all going in there, and there's going to be
10% of you aren't coming out.
You probably wouldn't go to that football stadium.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it was emotional for my mother, for my sister.
Was that hard for you, mate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to see their I was scared.
Yeah. Were you?
I was shitting myself.
Were you? But could you show that? Like, with everyone around you, the impression I get is that you're so strong in it that, everyone around you, you're the strong one trying to hold it all together. But I guess inside, like you just said, you're shitting yourself.
I mean, I couldn't let on at all.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's scary. I mean, any surgery that anyone does, be it a knee op or hernia operation, or you have a little bit of fear.
Yeah.
But when they remove a vital organ in your body,
right.
you are scared.
You're scared shitless,
but I saved that until I was on my own.
Yeah.
When no one else could be around me, which is when you get wheeled in, and you're in the room waiting to be put under.
What are you thinking at that point then?
I've got no idea what I was thinking.
Really,
I just let everything go.
Yeah.
And I was just in my own world,
just completely at peace. Really.
Yeah. Just nothing. Didn't think anything.
Really.
No.
Just there.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, you obviously get wheeled in, you get drugged up, And then you wake up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. You literally, they take you into that anesthesia room.
Yeah.
There's two chicks there, and they're very calm. And
Yeah.
I had my robes on backwards, so I had to put them on the right way. The mask goes on, and then you wake up.
What was your first thought when you woke up?
Ouch.
Really?
Yeah. Where am I? And this hurts.
Really?
Yeah.
What was the pain like?
I can't describe it.
Really?
There was times when I had to remove myself physically. I felt like I was removing myself, and I was looking at myself.
Wow.
Because the pain was just... I mean, there was a bit of an error on the hospital part.
Right.
And they removed all my... 36 hours after my op, they removed me from all painkillers.
Right.
Morphine and everything.
Right.
And there was a miscommunication.
Wow.
So I spent the whole entire night from 36 hours to 48 hours with 0 painkillers.
Wow.
And I actually asked them to kill me.
Really?
It was
just too much.
Too much. So, and it was like I was on the ceiling and I was looking down at myself. That's the only way that I could deal with the pain.
Like a complete out-of-body experience.
Out-of-body experience.
Wow.
And people talk about those, and you're like, what are you talking about? But it was an out-of-body experience, and I was just this little thing curled up on this bed in the middle of a room.
Just pathetic. Nothing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it wasn't until the shift changed and the new nurses came in and the pain team, and they were like, why hasn't this guy got any painkillers?
Really?
Yeah.
So you just went through sort of 12 hours of horror.
Yeah, it was you couldn't imagine it. It's the worst thing I've ever done in my life.
Oh, God. When did you see each other after the operation then? So you've gone in first and Regina's gone in later.
It was on a Thursday,
right.
And then I saw her on the Friday. The next day they wheeled me down,
right?
Just so we could see each other.
Yeah.
I don't really remember it very well.
Yeah, you both probably drugged up.
Yeah, I mean we had morphine on tap every 5 minutes. We had access to morphine, and it was going out of fashion. Like,
really,
yeah,
you needed
it was needed.
Yeah.
I saw her briefly. I had a very bad reaction, so to the anesthesia and to the morphine. So I would give myself a hit every 5 minutes, but I would immediately throw up.
Wow. Wow.
So yeah, that was pretty harsh.
Yeah.
And so yeah, saw each other on Friday, and then Friday night was my bad night.
Right.
Saturday was I was out, and my family came to see me.
Yeah.
During visiting hours, and I was
just done.
I wasn't even there, and they were super worried.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And then got the right painkillers in me, and then I walked out of hospital the next day.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, in the immediate sort of aftermath of getting out of hospital, apart from the slight hiccup with painkillers, like everything was a green light. They'd done the operation. It was all good.
Yeah.
How did you guys start to feel at that stage? I know you're still beaten up from the operation, but I think again mentally, were you relieved? Where were you at, or was it a recovery process? What was the chat?
It was like we'd done it.
Right.
My kidney started working for Jeannie on the operating table.
Wow.
So they plugged it in,
yeah,
and it started pulsing immediately.
No way. And that doesn't happen the whole time, right?
No.
Sometimes it takes a little bit getting used to.
Yeah.
Right.
So she quickly realised, and she felt amazing.
Really?
She woke up and she was talking about the wedding.
Just so much different straight away.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's not on dialysis anymore.
Wow.
And she felt good, but it wasn't touch and go, but you don't know.
Yeah.
Yet, but she was feeling great.
Wow. How did that make you feel, mate? Because you're so selfless in all of this. It is really an amazing story because of your attitude towards it. But like, you must have felt some form of like victory in it at that stage.
Yeah, it was. It was like I'd saved someone's life. I mean, don't think I've ever met someone that saved someone's life. I mean, I saved someone from drowning when I was a kid, but it was surreal. Yeah, again, surreal. Yeah. And it was like something you see on the Discovery Channel, or about these people that do these amazing things. Yeah. And it was just great to see her so happy and back to life.
Give us a little bit of, obviously we're in November now, so we're sort of 6 months on. Give us a little bit of a sort of insight into what that recovery process was like. I know you were out running a week later, and, for both of you as well, and the adjustment to, because I guess in the lead up to it, mate, in the not knowing, in the testing of who could be the donor, there's a lot of unknown, but once it's done, I guess to a certain extent, it's like, how do we get life as close to normal, or whatever normal is, as fast as possible? So talk us through those sort of the last 6 months.
Yeah, well, Jeannie obviously had to take it real slow. Yeah. We were told not to do any physical activity for 12 weeks.
Right. You listened to that, yeah?
So it was, and I probably started working out 4 days after the operation.
So that 12 weeks went right out the window.
No, just band work, just some accessory work, like as you call it. But then 2 weeks after the operation, I did a 5K run.
Right.
18 days after the operation, I did a 10K run. Because it was actually your fault, Marcus, because you had the May running challenge
meters in May,
and I thought I'd give you some mileage.
You certainly did. I can't remember how much you ended up contributing to that, but quite a lot.
100
just after an operation as well, or not a normal operation either.
Something like that. But you're given all these painkillers. Yeah, thanks for them. After the op, I wanted them when I was in hospital. You give them painkillers and do this. You can't do that. You can't do this. And I just lived, and I wanted to get out in the fresh air. And I was in England. I had to be in England for 2 to 3 months.
Right.
Recovery.
Right.
And I just wanted to get back to fitness. And I wanted to prove that you didn't have to do nothing for 12 weeks, because I think that might be a deterrent for quite a few people.
Yeah, right.
Especially if you're into fitness and being in shape. Yeah. And I thought, no, that can't be normal.
So you almost had a point to prove about how you would recover.
Yeah. So
so you wanted to prove all the doctors wrong, basically, is what you're saying.
Everyone wrong. And in my mind, and I think I mentioned it to one of, I think I mentioned it to everyone. I said, give me 2 weeks, and I'm going to be doing fitness things, whatever it may be. I just said, give me 2 weeks, and that's at 2 weeks I ran 10K.
Not only did you run 10K at 2 weeks, mate, but as soon as you got back to Dubai after 2 or 3 months, you bought a bike and you stepped things up. Talk us through some of the things you've done since, because I think this is what's really incredible as well.
Yeah, well, getting back, had a good friend of mine, Stan, and he wanted to get fit, and he thought the way to do that is to commit to a triathlon. Yeah. So a bunch of us said, okay, we're gonna do that, and I said, well, we're gonna help you, we're gonna support you. Right. So got back, and I started doing triathlons, and very very quickly did some sprints. In the weekend, I'd do a couple of sprint triathlons. Yeah. And then I think 2 weeks after that, I did an Olympic triathlon. Right. So yeah, just doing different types of fitness that I'd never really was interested in. Yeah. But it was fitness, and it was a good thing to do. And
was that the kind of stuff that your body could handle more than obviously putting it under strain through weights and stuff? Or did you so it was a natural thing to go into?
Yeah, because obviously I've had a kidney removed, and there's risk involved with lifting heavy weights. Right. Because you've been stitched up. There's blood vessels and main things that lead to that organ, which is not there anymore. Yeah, so if I were to try and dead 180 kilos,
No
I'm
way.
sure that might cause a little bit of damage.
Yeah.
So,
have you felt any sort of anything that you've been in a situation where you're like, that doesn't feel quite right, I maybe shouldn't be doing this? Or has your body felt pretty good most? I mean, I remember not long after you came back, you came in and we were doing a workout with GHD sit-ups, and you're like, I'll try them.
Yeah.
No, and then you had no pain at all. I think I was more worried than you were.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know unless you try something, right?
Right.
And GHDs, I was worried about them, and I think that was 3 months after the operation.
Yeah, it wasn't that
we
far.
did that workout.
Yeah.
It was it was cool. Just try it and take it easy on the first rep, and then
see how it goes.
Yeah, let's go.
How's Jeannie doing now?
Amazing. She just moved back.
She just moved back to Dubai. So you guys are finally getting a, quote, normal life?
Yeah, back to normal life.
Yeah.
She's pretty psyched about getting the wedding sorted.
I'm sure.
So, yeah, she's been back now for about almost 5 weeks.
Right. But she's still in need of certain things, and you're still having to travel to the UK. Give us a little bit of an insight into what's sort of... Because it's not over for her. It's
no.
For you... This is life now, and you're pretty much okay, but for her, there's still some challenges.
She still needs a pancreas.
Right.
Because hers has never worked.
Wow.
And to save, to give my kidney, which she now has longevity
right.
and a longer life, she needs a pancreas that works.
Right.
So the plan is we have to move back to England.
Right.
Probably in 2 years or so.
Right.
But in the meantime, she needs to travel back every 5, 6, 7 weeks.
Yeah.
And be checked up by the NHS doctors.
When does she need to get that pancreas by then? Is there a deadline? Or
No.
But does it put more strain on other parts of her body?
The sooner the better.
Right.
But we want to live a normal life for a couple of years. We want to get married, and her sister Shaz is expecting in January.
Wow.
So we want to hang with the kids, and my sister and brother-in-law have got 2 young kids.
Yeah.
So we just want to just live a normal life. And
Mate, but what is a normal life now? You've been through, it started in 2015. We're sort of 18 months down the road of it. What is normal now? Like, what does it look like? Because your normals changed before we started the show.
Yeah.
We were talking about food. We were talking about you did some squats this morning, and you stand up and you feel dizzy. What is life now?
It's very similar.
Yeah.
Training aside.
Yeah.
Because that's just something I do for fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, the life is back to how it was before.
Awesome.
She's doing Pilates and
wow.
Is doing everything, driving normally, and it's the same.
That's cool.
Really.
That's cool.
But yeah.
Do you? Is there still a tough mental side to deal with for either of you? Do you sort of have? You're pretty rock solid, I know, but you still have feelings. It still must be up and down. Do you revisit that 12 hours of pain that you spoke to us about? Do you feel, is there different emotions now that you have only one kidney, or how, is that stuff a factor in life?
I try not to think about it, and I tend not to think about it.
Good, yeah.
But it'll never leave me. For instance, you can get poisoned pretty easily from consuming too much protein.
Right.
So before the op, I was a lot heavier than I was.
Yeah.
And I mean, I lost 11 kilos.
Wow.
From the operation in total.
Wow.
And I can only consume 100 gram of protein now, which
per
is
day?
Yeah, per day,
Right,
which is nothing.
It's not a very interesting steak, is it?
No. So because of that, I turned vegan.
Right.
And I thought I'm going to get all my protein from other things that's very easy to do when you can only consume 100 grams.
Right. Is Jeannie the same? Can she is she restricted to how much protein she can have?
Not really.
Right.
But she doesn't. She's a celiac as well.
Right.
So she can't eat gluten.
Right.
So that kind of restricts what she eats.
Yeah. Right.
But we follow pretty much the same diet. I follow a celiac diet as much as I can.
Right.
And a vegan diet, just to be as healthy as I can.
Yeah. And how do you feel in like normal life now? Like healthy, fit, strong. Like how do you actually feel?
I feel fit and healthy, but I'm not as fit and healthy as I was.
Yeah.
I would like to be.
Yeah.
But it's going to take time.
Is it going to take time, or do you have to reset goals and standards and norms really to sort of, okay, that was pre-op Tom and this is post-op Tom. Yeah, I can go and do Olympic distance triathlons, I can do this, but I know, I'll never have a goal to deadlift 250 kilos. How do you put all of that together? It's
pretty hard. Like, pre-op I was, for instance, deadlifting 180 kilo.
Yeah.
And now I'll do Linda.
Yeah.
And I've got, say, 105 on the bar, and it's tough.
Right.
And not only physically tough, but it's like, that was easy, man. Like,
right.
That was really easy before.
Yeah.
But it's the sacrifice. It doesn't outweigh
Yeah.
what I've actually done. And if I've saved my wife to be's life, and now I can only deadlift, 140 max, who really cares? It's just a number.
Yeah. So what are your goals, mate? I know to get married and to be happy and stuff, but you've been quite into fitness, and that's why I think where we started was good. You're obsessed with wakeboarding. All of your goals, or a lot of your goals, are super physical, and you've absolutely smashed them. You're dedicated, you're committed. So how do you now set goals, and what does it look like for maybe the next year or so?
Just continue to get stronger.
Right.
And I would like to be very close to where I was at.
Right. You think that's possible?
Yeah.
Right. Awesome.
I think it is. I think I have to train harder, maybe.
Yeah.
Which is why I installed a CrossFit rig in my garden a few weeks ago.
Yeah, very impressive one as well.
So I'd like to get back to how I felt before.
Yeah.
But there is no rush.
Right.
My main goal now is looking after Jeannie.
Yeah.
For the next, for the foreseeable future. Looking forward to our wedding.
Amazing.
In March.
Yeah.
And fitness can take not a back seat, but
I guess this has put things in a little bit of perspective. We could say,
you look at life differently, and it has a domino effect on how you live your life.
Yeah.
What
would you say? Ending on that point, it has a domino effect on how you live your life. What would you say is like one or two of the really key takeaways from this experience, like the things that you'd say to people from the last 18 months of my life, from giving away one of my kidneys? These two things is what I think you should take into your life to live the very best life.
Life is pretty simple.
Right.
And us as humans make it so complicated.
Amazing. Yeah.
And the simple things. Don't let life wind you up.
Right.
One thing. You get pissed off every day driving in Dubai. Why does it piss you off? Who cares? Man?
Who cares?
Like, really, who cares?
Yeah.
So, someone insults you, or you're doing something bad at work. It's just a job. You're making money for someone else, or you don't make money. You've got life. You've got health.
Right.
You have fitness.
Right.
Forget about all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Possessions and things that people. Who cares? Man?
Right.
Just be happy that you have your life.
Wow. Yeah. I think that's one thing, mate, and I think that's one thing in especially in the world that we're in at the moment that people maybe don't pay as much attention to.
Yeah, just stand back and look at yourself. Like, you're lucky. Yeah.
Amazing, mate. Super powerful stuff. I really appreciate you sharing the story with us, mate. And we'd love to get you back on maybe in 6 months or 8 months and hear where that deadlift's at and where life's at. And you said little increases, so we expect little increases. But I personally think what you've done is absolutely heroic, mate. I think the way that you've explained it to us in the last sort of 45 minutes as well just gives me a lot of motivation, and I hope it gives a lot of people a lot of motivation.
Yeah, I just want to add, Marcus, that during the whole period, I was training with you guys, and your brand, no weakness, and it was something that I thought about a lot.
Wow.
And I had your wristband on.
Yeah.
And I'll I'm not lying here. It really did help myself.
Yeah.
Pull through in certain times.
Amazing.
Thanks to you guys, it helped.
We appreciate it. And I'm glad you've both come out the other side.
Yep, we're here.
That's what's important. Tom Ellis, kidney donor. Congratulations, mate, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Marcus. Thanks for your time.
Thanks a lot, folks, for tuning into this episode of the podcast, and I really do hope you enjoyed that. An excellent chat there with Tom Ellis. Hugely motivational for me personally, and I hope for you guys as well. Remember, if you do have any questions, email us winning@innerfight.com. We'd love to hear from you. And if you do want that Smith Street Paleo goodie bag, then just hop over to iTunes, rate the podcast, leave a review, send us an email, let us know you've done it. Until next time, take care.